Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast.
And here's your host, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. In your ears, creeping into your brain, causing more wrinkles, massaging your brain, I think. Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, we're back again here to talk baseball. Thank you for coming along. I am Jeff, the big brother, alongside Jana.
Hello.
The baby sister here. And we can't wait to get to this week's show because we're talking about one of the most exciting times of the year. And everybody getting fired up to hit the road to Omaha for potentially getting into the College World Series. So we've got the matchups, who's in, and who's playing who, and where the super regionals are. I mean, I'm sorry, just the regionals. The super regionals will not be announced until I think Friday, tomorrow. So that'll come into play at that point. But really, there's only one thing, 3 letters you need to know before we start talking about the baseball tournament. And those 3 letters are?
Give me an S. Give me an E. Give me a C. What's that spell? S-E-C.
Sec.
Give me a sec.
Yeah,
No.
It's they are dominating both in teams and regionals. So we'll get to all of that. And of course, we got Dodgers, Angels, and a trip around baseball. Question is, how dizzy will we get today when we get to the wheel of the IM? So without further ado, let's hit it. Before we take a look at the College World Series or the NCAA Division I Baseball Championship games, because the College World Series isn't until the end of all that. You got to get through the early tournament before you can ever get to the College World Series. College World Series is for closers. Did you ever see that movie? Was it Glengarry Glen Ross, I think, or I think that's what it was. And it was like, coffee's for closers. Put that coffee down. Alec Baldwin.
That's right.
You don't get coffee. Coffee's for closers. What have you sold? So coffee's for closers. You got to win to get the College World Series. Run through your brackets. And there's a lot of strong teams out there. Before we get to all that, though, find us on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
Online, our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. You can catch the Fanatics link and find, your favorite college teams on there, as well as your favorite pro teams, and then also support the show along the way. And you can listen to the podcast. The latest episodes are all right there. So where should we start? On Monday of this week, the regional sites were picked before. So that was kind of a giveaway before the actual show, because if you got a regional, you're in the tournament. And as we mentioned, the SEC pretty much have almost all the regionals. I think nearly half of them.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you've got Auburn, Alabama. So that's Auburn. LSU will be hosting a regional. Clemson will be hosting. South Carolina, are the Gamecocks there in the SEC? Are they not?
Yeah, but Clemson is not.
Clemson's that's right. They're in the ACC, but I always think of them.
Are.
Yeah, I always think of them in the SEC.
There is a Columbia Columbia Regional, but yeah, Clemson is the ACC.
Yeah. Okay. Virginia, Charlottesville, Coastal Carolina and Conway, South Carolina, Miami, Arkansas, Florida, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and then we have Stanford, Oklahoma State, Indiana State, Alabama, and Wake Forest. And so by being awarded a regional, all of those 16 host institutions are part of the 64-team championship field.
So they're automatically in. Some of those teams, obviously, we talked Wake Forest up until the end of the season. Actually, in the SEC tournament, the ACC tournament, so many SEC teams, you can't get away from them.
I know. There's 10.
Right. I think that's the most ever.
Yeah, there's 10 SEC teams, 8 ACC teams, and then 6 Big 12, 5 Pac-12, 4 Sun Belt teams, and 3 Big 10 teams. And then the American Athletic, Big East, Colonial, and Conference USA have 2 teams.
Each. Yep. And then you've got some singles that were probably either automatic bids. Cal State Fullerton did make it in, even though they just spent like a blink of an eye on the in the top 25.
And they were given, they made it in because I think that the University of California, San Diego is ineligible. Is that right?
Oh, I missed that. Is that the case? What happened there?
That's what I read.
UC San Diego baseball. Let's do a little during the show research, and let's see what happened with the Tritons. Let's see here. Baseball. Why are they?
Well, maybe I made it up. I don't know.
Oh, well, I mean, that's reasonable. It makes for a good show, right? Let's ask it. Instead of just putting it on, let me do this. Is UCSD baseball ineligible for NCAA tournament? The Tritons will not receive the conference's automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Even though they held the tiebreaker over Fullerton. Doesn't say why. Let's see. Why is? That's the question. Why is? Yeah. They are in the second of a 4-year transition period to Division I, making them ineligible. So, that's nothing.
No, nothing exciting. Okay, but Cal State made it in because of that.
Right. So and that's right, because UC San Diego, considered a small school. I think they were Division II or one of those, and they're on their way in. So they're just not quite there yet. They're still marinating.
They are. Now, one of the biggest shocks that came out of the NCAA is Tulane qualified for the NCAA baseball tournament, even though they had a record of 19-40. But as I mentioned, those rankings, now they do mean something. Obviously, we see, those top teams, they were in the rankings, get the regional sites. But Tulane, they were seeded 7th in the 10-team AAC tournament in Clearwater, Florida, and they upset Houston. They beat Memphis via the mercy rule. They bounced back from a loss to the Cougars to eliminate them, and they topped the East Carolina in the conference championship. So that's what I'm saying, that you could have a record of 19-40 and just come out crazy good and have a really good tournament. And this is their first tournament bid since 2016. It's their 9th conference tourney title between the Metro Conference, the Conference USA, and now they're in the AAC.
So everything fires up tomorrow, the June 2nd. Every regional is in play. And remember, this is, it's kind of weird. There's double elimination. And then as you get closer, then you'll have an actual series against a team. And then you kind of go back to double elimination again. And, the super regionals are the two best teams. And so then they're like a 3-game set. It's a standard, 3-game series and that. So, this is the cool thing is it's like, pool play in World Cup and stuff like that. You're going to play everybody.
Yeah.
And unless you lose 2 times in a row, then you're out. You're not going to play everybody. But whatever it takes to get down to, just the top 2 teams, and then they'll move on from there. So everything fires up there with the World Series towards the end of June, once everybody gets there. And that, too, is double elimination once you get to Omaha. So we're going to see, out of the Auburn regional, Southern Miss is there. Samford, not Stanford, but Samford. And Penn. Baton Rouge is got the Red Stick. That's what it translates out to. Red Stick, Louisiana.
I think Baton Rouge sounds so much better.
It does, but that just tells you that how, what kind of imagination they had.
Right.
Oh, there's a Red Stick over there. That'll be the name of this town.
Yeah. Well, there's
Luckily,
some great stories.
It was the French who found the Red Stick and determined that they would call it Baton Rouge. And that's where Tulane, with their 19-40 record, is going to have to take on LSU, who's had some issues, but still had a good enough season. And Tulane's probably not going to beat them. But as you have already pointed out, stranger things have happened. Oregon State's got to travel all the way there because there's only one regional on the West Coast, and that's in Stanford. You got Charlottesville, so Virginia. And here's one that's interesting because I believe it's a pitcher from LSU used to go to Air Force Academy. Transferred out, is one of their best pitchers. While Air Force didn't make it in, Army, West Point is one of the teams. East Carolina is going to take on Oklahoma.
Yeah, Boomer Sooner.
And then you've got Clemson versus Lipscomb, Tennessee, and they're taking on Charlotte in the Clemson regional. In Columbia, South Carolina, a team that is interesting because there's a player in the big leagues who just this time last year was playing for Campbell, and we'll talk about him later. But he was playing for Campbell. Campbell's back in it, playing NC State, while host South Carolina will be taking on Central Connecticut State in Conway, which is home to, do you know who?
I don't.
The Coastal Carolina Pirates.
Oh, yeah, the Pirates, of course.
And they're taking on Ryder, while Duke, who had a interesting and surprising season, will be taking on UNCW. Coral Gables, home of the Miami Hurricanes, where Miami's going to take on Maine. I don't think I've ever seen Maine in anything.
I don't think so either. Oh, yeah. Hey, they're the number 4 seed in that regional.
Yep.
With Texas and Louisiana matched up.
Yeah, not Louisiana State, just University of Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Fayetteville, Arkansas will be the site for Santa Clara, the Banana Slugs out of Central California. and they'll be taking on the Razorbacks of Arkansas. And then Arizona has to travel to Arkansas as well to take on the Horned Frogs
Yeah.
of TCU.
Yeah. Then you've got the Gainesville Regional, UConn versus Texas Tech. And then Florida, which is, in Gainesville. They're the number 1 seed. They will be taking on Florida A&M.
Tom Petty's hometown. And then heading to Nashville, Vanderbilt is hosting that, and they're going to be taking on, as the number 1 seed in the region, taking on Eastern Illinois. The Ducks of Oregon will be taking on Xavier. And then kind of funny that Oregon has to go to Nashville. Oh, I skipped over one to go to Nashville, and that would be Wildcat Country, home of one of my favorite teams, the Kentucky Wildcats, grabbing the number 1 seed in that region, taking on Ball State out of Ohio. No, they're out of Indiana.
Yeah.
And then West Virginia and Indiana.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. You had Ball State and Indiana in the same regional.
Well, if you think that's interesting, how about this? At Stanford, they're in Palo Alto. They're taking on San Jose State, which is just down the road. Close. I mean, that's almost a home game for either one of them.
Yeah, how did that work out for San Jose State? For them to get that regional, and then Cal State Fullerton, now further down the road, but still in the same state, and then Texas A&M having to travel to the West Coast.
I think they had to travel there just like a lot of times. You've got good teams. They were a big team in the Big 12, and to be the number 2 seed, that sometimes that's what happens.
Yeah.
Team that has really become a staple here now in the playoffs over the last couple of years in Oklahoma, in Stillwater, Dallas Baptist.
Yeah. The last few years they have they kind of just came out of nowhere. Like, who is Dallas Baptist? But have really done well in their seasons. We'll see how far they get this time. They're going to be playing Washington, and then Oklahoma State will be playing Oral Roberts, which again is
right there.
Right there. You got Stillwater, and they're in Tulsa. So
every time I can't think of Oral Roberts without hearing Oral Roberts in my head. Something good is going to happen to you. Something good is going to happen to you. What is Dallas Baptist? What is their mascot? Do you know? I don't know. I went to look and see, because on the bracket, they have like all of the school logos, and some of them it's very clear what they are. But some of them you can't tell. And if you don't already know, it just says DBU. Debut. And I don't remember what they were.
The Patriots.
From before. The Patriots. That's right. I remember that now that you told me.
I was just days old when I learned.
I remember it from last year.
Yeah.
So when you said it, it popped up.
Right.
So Indiana State. Do you know who went to Indiana State? Because
I know who went to Ball State, David Letterman.
Yes.
But I don't
Indiana
know.
State, Larry Bird.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was going to go to Indiana, but then Bobby Knight said, "Oh, you're never going to make it. You're not going to be a great basketball player."
Yeah, shows what he knows.
Yeah.
Well, Terre Haute, another fun word to say.
Yes.
I added to my list. I got Rancho Cucamonga, Texaco, New Mexico, Terre Haute.
Is it Terre Haute or Terre Haute?
I think it's Terre Haute. I'm not. I got to learn if it's going to be on my list of favorite locations.
Yeah,
to
maybe you
say.
should have some. Yeah, come on.
So
Anyway,
Indiana State.
The
is
Sycamores
hosting.
of Indiana State. See, I knew that one, but that's only because they played Michigan State in 1979, Bird versus Magic. That was the first one in college. Magic was a sophomore, Bird was a senior, and it wasn't baseball, it was basketball. So let me move on.
We have the right state is in this regional. Do you know their mascot?
The Aviators. I don't know. They're from Ohio.
See, that's what I was thinking. I was like the Wright State Flyers, the Rowdy. Yeah. The Rowdy Raider.
Rowdy Raider. Right stuff.
Right
Good.
stuff.
now I got a whole movie about space travel. Wright State Rowdy Raiders, huh?
Yeah.
That's a tongue twister for sure.
And they could
North
be just
Carolina,
the Raiders.
North Carolina. Rowdy. How about that? Indiana State. Larry Bird.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina, another basketball legend out of there.
Michael Jordan.
Exactly. I mean, there were a lot of great basketball players, but Michael Jordan probably the best of the group.
Right.
Arguably, anyway. And then the Hawkeyes of Iowa round out the Terre Haute Regional. And then we go, it's interesting because this one, there's been some drama and some issues in Tuscaloosa at the University of Alabama, including a coach being fired for gambling.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it involved the father of one of the players, right? Yeah. Yep. That's a scandal.
And so they had a great season. They are the number one. Couple of great plays by the players. I mean, it's not their fault that their coach was cheating and gambling on the game, and it sounded like he may have done something that affected the outcome of the game and caused them to lose, which helped that father earn some money in gambling. So that's a huge no-no. They're going to be playing Nichols, Boston College there as well, and then Troy. So not like a lot of these where you've got a lot of teams that are real close by.
Well, Nichols is out of Louisiana.
Right.
So, and they are the Colonels, and their official mascot is Colonel Toulouse. It's probably not pronounced that way. Maybe it's said a different way in the Cajun accent, but they're the Colonels.
And that's like a regular colonel, like a military colonel, not like a popcorn
kernel.
And then finally, the very last of the regional sites. I'm going to let you take this. Number one seed,
the Wake Forest Demon Deacons.
And they're going to take on George Mason, which is from that region. From North Carolina, Virginia.
Virginia, yeah.
Yeah, George Mason's from Virginia. They're going to take on Wake Forest. Maryland heads on down to Wake Forest, and they're going to take on Northeastern. And that, like I said, that all of these matchups that we're talking about, that's day one. And then check
that's your
local
list. That's why you got to really have your bracket to keep track of everything. Most of the games are going to be on ESPN Plus. So really good weekend for baseball. The 8 super regional hosts will be announced on June 6th. And then the College World Series begins Friday, June 16th.
Head on over
Omaha.
to ncaa.com/brackets/baseball/D1/2023. Actually, just go to ncaa.com, click on the baseball. You'll see all the brackets and that stuff. But they've got a really cool setup with the brackets where, it shows each of the regionals. And then instead of it just being listed in the name, there's a little box, tells you how many losses they have. And you can keep up with it that way. There's also a printable version, so you can do like you do during March Madness. You can do this through the June nonsensicalness, and keep up with this tournament.
Yeah, and just really quickly, I always like these kind of stats, but Florida A&M and Lipscomb are making their third appearances in the championship, and then Penn and Nichols are making their first appearance in the past 23 years. Penn last time was 1995, Nichols 1998, and then Vanderbilt has the longest active streak with its 17th straight appearance. Florida is next with 15, and then the Cowboys of Oklahoma State with 10.
Santa Clara, last time they were in 1997.
Okay, so they fit in there too. Yeah,
they certainly do. So yeah, it's there's a lot of teams that we heard. If you were listening when we did this last year, or you follow the college baseball playoffs, there's a lot of names that you heard last year as well. Like we kind of pointed out, Dallas Baptist, you got East Carolina, and of course the big guys. Interesting how now the Southeastern Conference has become the major conference of baseball. It used to be more the West. And
yeah, I think growing up, from what I remember, it always seemed like it was the West, the West Coast teams. Cal State
Right.
Fullerton was always there.
USC.
San Diego State, USC, UCLA,
Mm-hmm.
Those teams. And now you see a major shift to the other side of the country.
And all the Pac-12 teams that are in it are from either, Stanford, Northern California, you got Washington, you got Oregon State, and then Arizona. And Arizona State was like one of the four, one of those like last four. They didn't get in, and but you didn't hear UCLA, USC. I haven't heard anything about USC baseball in a while.
Yeah.
And they used to be pretty much, they've got a lot of titles, just not there. So should be fun baseball. Looking for a lot of upsets. May not get them, but hopefully that makes it even more fun. You always got to have a Cinderella story.
Yeah, there always has to be
story.
The one team that you follow. You want them to win. It's going to be fun. I'm excited for college baseball.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
I've always been under the theory, my personal theory, is that if you're gonna have injuries during a season, do it early. Get it out of the way. That way, if it takes a little while, maybe you're back by All-Star break, maybe you're back in late August, so you have enough time to ramp back up, get back into the groove, and walk into the playoffs at full strength. Right now, I think the Dodgers are feeling what everybody was watching happen and saying, what are you guys doing? You need to fix this. What do you mean you're not going to get some pitching? What do you mean you're not going to get this? What do you mean you're not going to get that? And it's right now, no time to panic. at least that's what Andrew Friedman says. No time to panic. We're going to watch them for 3.5 months. Well, we're really only 2 full months into the season. So sometime in June, they got to start looking. But now everybody's starting to look too. What does the trade market look like?
Yeah, that is already ramping up. Trade deadline's August 1st. So we're already starting to hear things. Who's on the move? I know of one pitcher I hope's on the move, but probably won't be. But
yeah, I don't think so. Nobody's going to want him.
I know that's the problem. Well, the Dodgers go into Atlanta and didn't have a great series in St. Louis at all. It was not good. And so I was fearful for Atlanta.
Well, you're going from St. Louis with a team that not only did you sweep already this year, and even though they were picking it up and playing well, they're still towards the bottom of the NL Central, and the NL Central's nothing,
right?
Overall. And, I mean, think about it. The Pirates, who were riding high, are playing about 500 ball now, and they're still in second place.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And St. Louis is in fourth.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that tell you?
Yeah. Well, I was like, oh, I'm kind of scared about this series because we have Julio Urias is out, Dustin May is out. They're both on the IL, and the Dodgers look to the rookies to help them out in the rotation. So first up, Gavin Stone. He started his second major league game versus the Braves. I mean, you think about their lineup. You have leadoff hitter Ronald Acuna Jr.
Number one MVP candidate in most of the experts' minds at this point.
And I think in his first inning appearances, his plate appearances, he's batting like 500, something crazy like that. And, Gavin Stone, he went 4 innings.
2 words for you.
Yes.
Gavin Stone, not ready.
Right. No, he's not. In this game, he went 4 innings. He gave up 5 hits, 5 runs, 5 walks, and had 1 strikeout. Did give up a home run. Not a great showing on the mound. Luckily, though, the Dodgers came through in this game with their offense. Freddie Freeman, first time back to Atlanta after his last appearance in Atlanta, the tearful reunion.
Oh, that was last year during flood season.
Yes.
Courtesy of Freddie Freeman.
Exactly. But this time, tearless. No tears. And I think he really said, how you like me now? He was 3 for 5. He had 3 RBIs, a home run, and a double in the game. And then JD Martinez, holy cow, 4 for 5, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs. Those 2 guys are on fire this game.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure that I'm sure they weren't thinking of it at that time, but I'm sure the Braves fans who follow any kind of statistics are probably saying, we really wish we had Freddie back because my way too early pick for MVP leads Major League Baseball in strikeouts. Matt Olson, the last time I looked, he had 60. He's over 60 now because it was a week ago that I was looking for comparisons on something. And yeah.
Yeah, in this game, the Dodgers had a 12-hit outburst because to storm back because they beat the Braves because the Braves had a 4-0 lead thanks to Gavin Stone and their hitting. So yeah, I mean, good start to this series for the Dodgers, and I felt better. I was like, oh, okay, I think I can breathe now. But I do want to talk about Marcell Ozuna and Will Smith.
Okay, I'm not going to stop you from doing that. I was just going to say, with all this, the best part about all this is that, Gavin Stone didn't look good. He was propped up by the offense, but it was the bullpen who really shut everything down, kept it from getting out of hand for them, and not being able to, come away with the 8-6 victory. So, yeah, I mean, overall, it turned out to be a good game and a surprise, because I was worried going in. And I knew the other thing was that regardless of what happened in the first game with that rookie, there was another rookie coming up. We'll get that in a second. What is it between Will Smith and Marcell Ozuna?
So in the fourth inning, Marcell Ozuna popped out to left field, and when he hits, or when he's batting, he comes around with that bat, and it hit Will Smith's helmet, and on the his follow through of his swing. Now, Will Smith missed 13 games in April because of a concussion, so he's pretty sensitive to that. I think anybody would be. I think as Dodger fans, we're sensitive to that. We don't want anything to happen to Will Smith.
Nope.
And Will Smith doesn't really say a lot. Pretty quiet guy. But he said to Ozuna, hey, come on. What's going on? You got to stop doing that. And I think the bullpens were both ready to come out of the bullpen and storm the field. But Ronald Acuna Jr., they had some words. Ronald Acuna Jr. came out, got Ozuna back to the dugout. And there wasn't anything else that happened, but Ozuna never apologized. And the reason, he said he didn't like that Will Smith showed him up. He didn't like that.
No. Okay.
But
Get over
Ozuna should be called for pitch clock violation every single time he comes up to bat, because his right foot is either on the line of the batter's box or just a little over. So he's not even in the batter's box. He stands so far back. And then it's like, where's the catcher supposed to go? They can't move further back.
Right.
And because of his follow through swing, which, okay, he's always done that, but he really needs to be careful about, what he's doing. I don't really care for Marcell Ozuna. I think he comes off as a bully and as someone who thinks he's better, than everyone. And he's been in his own trouble, off the field.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think, keep a low profile, just say, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, and go on about your business. But
yeah, it wasn't intentional.
But it was like, oh, he showed me up. Okay, what's that about? So he's on my enemy list now.
Yes, that's what it is. Well, I could tell you, when it comes to enemies, the Braves have one in a kid named Bobby Miller.
Definitely.
Highly touted. Everybody was like, should we bring him up? Shouldn't we? He's a fireballer. A lot of, he's had some control issues. Everybody's afraid. Yet it was like, we need to bring him up because we need a pitcher.
Right. I have a lot of choice.
Is he going to be better than Gavin Stone? Same as Gavin? Worse than Gavin Stone?
Right. It's the unknown.
And, not anymore. He's not unknown anymore. Bobby Miller comes in, takes on last year's rookie, not rookie of the year, but could have been.
Could have been.
The mustache Spencer Strider, who Even though over 6 innings he gave up 5 hits and 4 runs, he struck out 11 Dodgers.
And he leads the majors with strikeouts. I think he's got 100 now. Over 100 probably.
He couldn't control JD Martinez, who is just on a tear. Will Smith also both with 3 RBIs. So Will said, fine, I'll just drive in 3 runs. We'll beat you again, Marcelli. And that was, and then of course, Justin Hayward with a home run in that game as well. But I think the big surprise.
You mean Jason? You always call him Justin.
I call him Justin. Jason.
I think you're channeling Justin Turner.
Jason Justin Hayward.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and he, like started out his career with the Braves. So a little bit of a homecoming, for him. And he was 2 for 4. Bobby Miller, I was impressed. 5 innings, gives up 4 hits, only 1 run, had 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, 95 pitches over the 5 innings. And I really love his intensity on the mound. I've heard some people call him the Bulldog. Can't call him the Bulldog. That is Earl Hershiser. Always will be. Maybe Bulldog Jr. I don't know. He needs a different name though, because it doesn't. We already have a Bulldog.
Yes. I thought about that too, and I thought, well, I've seen highlights of him pitch. I haven't really got to see him. I didn't get to see that game, so I couldn't really see what the deal was, other than the highlights. But he did look good, and that's a good thing for the Dodgers. Knowing that, and obviously it's only 1 outing. I think with Gavin Stone, we know after 2 outings that it's pretty much the same thing. This one a little better than the last one, but not much. And if not for the offense and the bullpen, he goes down with an L in that game. So they finish up the series. They're in Atlanta, day game, getaway game before they head off to Tampa Bay with Tony Gonsolin on the mound.
Yeah, he pitched 5 2/3 innings. He gave up 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, had 4 strikeouts, but he gave up 3 home runs in the Dodgers' loss. So the Dodgers were hoping for a sweep. They had the 8-6 win in game 1, 8-1 win in game 2, and this one they just could not. They just couldn't get past. I mean, they tried, but
well, it was tied. It was tied in the 8th,
right?
3-3, and it really happened that it was kind of out of their control. That if they really wanted to win, they needed to score runs by the top of the 9th, and they couldn't do it. And the Braves get a walk-off.
Right. And it doesn't help that the Dodgers were 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position in this game. So trying to win this game with that does not help. Mookie Betts did go 2 for 5 and had a home run in the game, though.
Yeah, it was the scoring was thanks to Jason Hayward. He grounded out, which scored Will Smith, who had singled earlier. And then JD Martinez would score on a Miguel Vargas double in that game. So they walk away, though, with a series win, which was good after getting beat by a inferior team. The Cardinals just, they fell apart after the Dodgers. So it just goes to show that a lot of teams get up for them. The Braves, didn't play bad, just things worked out the Dodgers' way in 2 out of 3, and they were very close. They just couldn't. And this has happened before for the Dodgers. They get there, but they kind of run out of steam. They can't really get that. They can't push that winning run across the plate or a tying run sometimes. And that's what happens. Ozzie Albies drives in Austin Riley, who had made his way to third after a double early in the inning. Jesse Chavez, our old friend Jesse Chavez, pitched in that game. He's like 90
Yes.
years old, I think, now. Something like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think you're
That just
right.
got
Like
to you, didn't you? You just heard what I said.
No, no. Yeah, I think he's about 90, 91. Yeah.
All right. So they head down to Tampa from Atlanta, so not a long trip.
And they did have a day off. They had
did.
Thursday off, so that was nice.
Yep. So they get there to take on the best team in baseball, and before you could say, at least record wise, they've started to look a little more human, I guess, by the fact that they're almost to 20 losses the last time I looked. They have more losses than the Oakland A's have wins. And they throwing, the one thing I thought about was that they didn't have to deal with McClanahan during this series, who is the ace right now for the Rays. But they did have to deal with everybody else. And I don't know that it matters who they threw out there, because the first pitcher the Rays had to deal with in this 2020 World Series rematch was Noah.
Yeah, Noah Syndergaard. And, they didn't have any other choice. The Dodgers had to go with him. It's not like they could trot anybody else out there. He pitched 6 innings, gave up 6 runs, 1 walk, had 3 strikeouts. He gave up a home run to Yandy Diaz. And it didn't get better for the Dodgers because Justin Brule came in and he pitched for 2 innings. He gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, and he also gave up a home run. This was the first meeting between the teams since the 2020 World Series. And this really just was a game, that just want to forget about. I mean, Freddie Freeman was 2 for 4. JD Martinez, 2 for 5 with an RBI. Chris Taylor came in as a pinch hitter in this game. I think he had a double and an RBI. But that was pretty much the extent of the excitement there.
Well, they threw basically it was a bullpen game for Tampa Bay. It was like 8 pitchers. Chris Well pitched 4 innings for them, kind of controlled everything. It was a lot of talk that they're good in so many ways, but their bullpen had been lacking. So it was like, hey, we really want to get to the bullpen because that might help. And it didn't. And it wasn't so much because of the bullpen, but just lackluster. They couldn't really, they'd get somebody on, but they couldn't do anything about it to bring them home. And then, a lot of it too, Yandy Diaz, 3 for 4 in that game. Christian Betancourt, Jose Siri, all of them had big games. And really offensively, it was a pretty explosive series from start to finish. I mean, when we get to Sunday's game, that one was just insane.
Yeah. Well, the first game, Dodgers lose 9-3. Brush it off, one game at a time. Go to the second game. Clayton Kershaw's back with the team, and he is on the mound for this game. And the Dodgers win 6-5. Clayton Kershaw goes 5 innings, gives up 6 hits, with 1 being a home run, 4 runs, 2 walks, had 6 strikeouts. He wasn't super happy about his, this appearance, but he looked better.
Yes, he did. And he was pitching against Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah, which was his first game since coming back from the IL because he had an oblique injury.
Oblique. 4 1/3 innings, struck out 8 Dodgers in this game. So only one walk for him. So he was doing okay. Dodgers just, once again, Freddie Freeman on a hitting streak has been going pretty well here. 2 for 3. 2 of those were doubles. Max. In fact, they were doing a whole big thing about Max and his home run because they were showing back in 2020, Max versus Tyler Glasnow. The James Spader, I believe, is what we had compared him to, kind of being a high school dude, and that whole vibe.
He does have that vibe.
They were showing that, and Max 2 for 4 with almost an identical home run.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Miguel Vargas homered in this game. And Freddie Freeman, I think in this game extended his hitting streak to 16, and he has 18 RBIs with this, during this game. He didn't have 18 RBIs in the game. Wow. No, within this hitting streak. I know, that'd be awesome. Could you imagine? Right. Yeah.
So a good one, and then they finish that up, go get a quick nap, and then we're in for breakfast ball. They were the Peacock game Sunday morning. So I think that starts at 6 a.m. Because I had to get up at 3 to watch the game on Peacock. I think something like that.
No way. You had
3 hour.
It was 8:30.
But it starts a lot earlier than most games start around 1, with the exception of whatever the later game is, which is 4 o'clock. Wherever Western or Pacific time. So I was listening to some of it on the radio, and Rick Monday. So I knew it was on, but I hadn't heard anything yet what it was. And it was still in the first inning. And the Dodgers were, I think they were in the top of the second. And it was already 7-0 or 7-something. And it just seemed like the Dodgers were already out of control. And then the Dodgers are hitting. And they were talking about how neither of the teams had taken batting practice that morning because it was an earlier game after a late game the night before, or whatever. They just didn't do batting practice that early. And he said, but that's okay because they're taking it now. And he said there's been some well-placed or quality. That's what he said. Some quality batting practice pitches. And I think that said it all right there. It really was what was going on. Because they just, in a game that ended up being 11-10, they were just crazy. And of course, proving once again that he does not belong outside of AAA. And I'm wondering if he ever will, based on what I've seen. Gavin Stone on the hill only goes 10 innings.
No,
2 innings, gives up 10 hits, 7 runs. He does strike out 3 and didn't walk anybody. So that's a positive. But 7 runs over 2 innings is just ridiculous. And like Rick Monday said, good batting practice pitching.
Yeah, I don't know if he realized he was a starter and not doing batting practice for Tampa Bay, but it's definitely a rude welcome to Tampa Bay when you only go 2 innings and give up 10 hits. And Gavin, he is just not ready. I wonder, even in AAA, should he be going back to Tulsa for some tutorial and then maybe head down to Oklahoma City? But in this game, Chris Taylor homered twice, Max Muncy, Trace Thompson, and JD Martinez also
another
had home runs.
Another thing that Rick Monday mentioned, they were talking about Trace and his slump and everything. And I'd heard this somewhere before, not quite the same way, but Rick was saying, he said, "Oh, it must feel like I think it's Tim Neverett with him on that." And he said, "It must feel like he's 0 for 100." He goes, "Yeah, he's like 0 for 5 years is what it feels like." And that was Rick Monday's talking about what's going on there. They also talked a little bit, and I noticed too, Austin Barnes batting under 100 now. He was like at 87.
It just not good. And the thing is, you have Will Smith who does most of the catching. I forgot to mention, Bobby Miller went to Louisville, and so did Will Smith. I don't know that they were there at the same time, but he did credit Will Smith with really helping him through that game, and maybe that connection of both going to, Will Smith Cardinals. Is from both being Cardinals. Will Smith is from Louisville, so yeah. But yeah, in this game, Trace Thompson, going back with him, 0 for 39, and then he had 3 hits. And one of them was a 442-foot home run.
4 home runs by the Dodgers in that game for their 10 runs. Once again, J.D. Martinez with a home run and a couple of RBIs. Max with a home run, but he ends up leaving the game early in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, he had a left hamstring cramp. So they took him out, and looks like he might be getting an MRI. At least that's what Doc was saying. They want to get ahead of it, is what they're trying to do there. Freddie Freeman, 2 for 5. I mean, he just keeps going, 2 doubles in this game.
Batting over 330. Last time I checked, about 335. Or more. So he's on his way. The guy that I got to see play versus the Angels, and we've talked about him before, Luis Arraez, who is with the Marlins, who's batting over 370. Freddie's got him in his sights. It looks like the way he's been hitting.
Yeah.
The Rays 7 for 17 with runners in scoring position, while the Dodgers were just 2 for 9. 4 stolen bases for the Rays.
Yeah, they're a team that I think that they lead in stolen bases.
As of Sunday, it was 72 stolen bases. The Dodgers have allowed 68 stolen bases.
Well, and going back to Freddie Freeman, I think he leads the team. He leads the Dodgers in stolen bases, along with everything else he's doing. The Rays are 26-6 at Tropicana Field for baseball's best home start since the 2008 Boston Red Sox. And they had an identical record. The Rays have already hit 100 home runs this season. Last year, they didn't hit 100 home runs as a team until August. So my only conclusion is they must be cheating.
Got to be. They're all juicing. They've got special balls. They know what's coming. Yeah, it has to be. It has to be that. All but 3 of the players, and they were all the starters, all but 3 of them had a multi-hit game.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's I'm watching
just
them.
Locked
my eyes.
in on everything.
They are. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting, though, to see, because even Houston Mitchell, who does the Dodgers newsletter for LA Times, comes out every day in the email, said something to the effect of the Rays are on track for 115 wins this season. And we know what that means. It's a trip to the playoffs. It means nothing more.
That's right. Now, I know Gavin Stone probably doesn't want us to talk about him anymore, but he's given up 23 hits 17 runs, 16 of those earned, while walking 7 and striking out 5 in his 10 major league innings. So, he looked good in spring training, but as we know, spring training means nothing when it comes to
They were talking about that too, that, in spring training, he had a lot of ball movement. And it really, that really helped him. And now his pitches there is little to no movement. And what movement there isn't helping him. So we'll see too what happens with Bobby Miller as he goes up, because he'll be probably pitching against at least one of these two teams that are coming to the Ravine. Dodgers head back home. They're going to take on the Nationals. And so they'll see a couple of former Dodgers and Keeper Ruiz, who has been their starting catcher. And then the reason I thought pitcher is because what's his face? And I just got his
Josiah
name.
Gray.
Josiah Gray is there. So they got that. And then for the weekend series,
big one,
the Yankees. And what a time to have to deal with the Yankees, because the Yankees are on fire. Aaron Judge has he's taken over the lead for home runs, and they've just really picked it up with the captain back since he's come off of the IL there a little while back. And when he's not like side-eyeing the dugout for whatever's going on. Chris Bassett said that when Aaron Judge said he was looking to see what all the chirping was about, he said that was a lie. He was looking over there because our guys were tipping pitches, probably, but he wasn't looking over there to tell them to stop chirping or because they kept doing that. He was looking because they were giving signs, which should be illegal in Chris Bassett's mind.
Yeah, I don't think that that's what happened. I think he was being the captain, and
even if he was looking because they saw it,
did he need it?
He didn't need it, number one, but number two, it's not illegal. If
Right.
you're doing it, they're not doing the asterisk way where we're using extra measures to do that. We just got guys watching and they figured it out.
Well, I go back to the National League Championship Series, the Phillies and the Padres. Phillies dugout had, figured out. I'm trying to think who was on the mound. Was it Blake Snell on the mound?
Yes.
And they figured him out. And it was all because they were up on that top row of the dugout watching him.
Paying attention to the game.
Not an
iPad.
looking
at an iPad at their last at bat. They were paying attention to the game. And that's how you win games. That's why the Dodgers have gone through times, 2020 was because they had stopped a lot of this stuff because of what happened with the Asterisks, not because of COVID, but because there were, locking down the technology.
And you see that a lot in the guys in the Dodger dugout, looking at the iPads. One guy that you very rarely, I don't think I've ever seen him, and that is Freddie Freeman,
who on the season is batting .335.
Exactly.
All right, so let's take a look at the player of the week.
I had to go with JD Martinez, 12 for 28, 8 RBIs, 4 home runs, 429, hit 429 over the 6 games.
I went with his partner in crime as far as his hitting streak goes, and I think last week you went with him, Freddie Freeman, who hit 440 over those games, 11 for 25, 5 doubles, a home run, 4 RBIs, walked 5 times, on-base percentage of .533. So he had, and then JD, both of them are on fire. 2 of the elder statesmen. If you can get Mookie doing it, it's like all of the old guys are going to be taking care of business and showing the young guys how it's done. They need to get into James Outman's head because something happened with him. He's still, here and there, but he's definitely cooled off.
Yeah, it's got
from where he
a little
was.
bit of a slump going himself, and we need to get him out of that rookie slump.
For as many errors as I've seen the Angels commit, they're still only 14th in MLB as far as errors go. They got 34 on the season as a team as of Sunday, and maybe they don't have more because Rendon's been out. That has been, I think the problem with that, they're in the middle. Their errors kind of match how they play. They're a 500 team for the most part, slightly over 500. I mean, when you think about it, the Angels, just from the American League standpoint, would be first place in the Central. They've got a better record than the Twins, and the Twins are like a game over. Maybe even I don't even know by Sunday. I'd have to look. What they were at there. Let me see. I think I have that up here. Standings as of last Sunday. The Angels were at 28 and 26. Minnesota 27 and 26. So get this, only one team is worse than all of the AL Central. And that's Oakland.
Yeah. Well,
Every team in the AL Central as of Sunday, with the exception of Minnesota, they're one game over 500. Every other team is under 500 in that division. If Oakland was playing better, Oakland could also be, and there would be the whole AL Central would be at the bottom of the AL overall standings. They're not up in there all. I mean, it's Tampa Bay, it's Baltimore, Texas is still surprising. They get Corey Seager back off the IL. Still killing it. Anyway, the Angels are in fourth place in their division, but they would be leading in the AL Central, and they would be in second place in the NL Central if they were there. So maybe it's time to move the team someplace in the Central.
where would they go? Where would they be?
Terre Haute.
Terre Haute. The Terre Haute Angels.
The Terre Haute. Yeah, why not? I don't know. That would be fine, Anyway, so the Angels, though, and right when you think you're on the brink of telling your cable company to stop carrying Bally Sportsnet, so you don't have to watch them anymore, they go and they do something, just when, what is that like in the romances? Just when I thought that I was ready to kick him to the curb or kick her to the curb, they went and they did this and redeemed themselves. So the Angels did something they hadn't done since 2015. And another thing they hadn't done since 2017 when it comes to the Boston Red Sox. First sweep of the Red Sox since 2015. And the first time they've won a season series from them since 2017.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
So they grabbed 3 from Boston game 1. Now, here's the thing. It's not as if they set the world on fire with a huge amount of offense and just blew them out. Game 1, they win 2-1. Jaime Barria, who'd been out of the bullpen for a while, actually ends up going to make a start because, like the Dodgers, the Angels are having issues with their starting pitchers. They've got injuries. They've got just bad starting pitchers. So they throw Jaime Barria in there, and he goes 5 innings, gives up just 2 hits, no runs. In fact, the one run of the game came from Aaron Loop, who's back off the IL, unfortunately. And on his way, hopefully here soon, on his way to being DFA'd, he gave up a run and 2 hits. So that's the only run they had there. They can thank Mickey Moniak for a home run in the 8th. And then Luis Rengifo for driving in, getting an RBI, driving in Brandon Drury. So it was, quick and painless as far as that goes. They were able to hold on. A lot of times they fall apart somewhere in there, or they have to fight back from, it was 2-1, then it's 2-2, and then they had to pull a run out of thin air so that they can get that comeback win. Not this time. They hold on. Next game, Griffin Canning. Great outing. 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs. Red Sox only 2 hits in that game. Crazy. And it's Mickey Moniak with a home run, another home run, and Matt Thaiss with a home run as well. And then
did Mike Trout have a home run in this game too? He
did.
Yeah, and he tied. Yeah, that's right. He tied Joe DiMaggio. I was thinking he would win ahead, but he didn't.
Nope. He tied Joe DiMaggio with 361 home runs, which at that point put Mike Trout tied with him at number 85 on the all-time list. Now, I was surprised by this because I'd never looked to see how many home runs Joe DiMaggio had. But then you realize he lost about 3 years in prime time.
Yeah.
When he was a participant in World War II, as were many players. We were just, I was talking to a friend who made a trip to Boston last fall and got to take the Fenway tour. And they were talking about Ted Williams and the seat. There's that one seat there where he hit a guy, the longest home run. And so he was talking about that, but you forget how much time he lost. There's players that lost that time during World War II, as far as their playing time. They wouldn't say they lost it necessarily, but they didn't get to play during primetime years.
Right.
Imagine what some of those guys' numbers are. I would almost say that there's probably numbers for some of these guys that wouldn't be ever touched.
Oh, yeah.
Ted Williams may very well have ended up being, considered the greatest compared without, Zexter. He was definitely, probably one of the best hitters ever. So, but he was a pretty good fighter pilot as well. So Hall of Fame on both levels. So Mike Trout did get that, picks up his 360th. He's got similar numbers to Joe DiMaggio at this point in his career, to this point in Joe's career. So it led us to Game 3. Tyler Anderson on the hill, and 6 innings, only gave up 1 run on 5 hits. A good outing for him too. So really 3 good pitching outings got him a sweep.
How about that?
When the pitching's good, and that was in spite of runs given up by now DFA'd pitcher Reyes Maranta.
Oh,
I know, right? And of course, soon to be DFA'd pitcher Aaron Loop. And in this 7-3 victory, Shohei had a home run. I think I'm just going to go ahead and say it now. Zetto got the home run.
Mike Trout.
As far as 3 for 3 with 3 RBIs, I was saving that one.
I'm sorry.
Stop letting the genie out of the bottle early.
Sorry.
Yes, Mike Trout, another home run to take sole possession of 85th on the all-time home run list. If he keeps going here, this is number 362, by the way, on his career. He also leads the Angels all time. The Angels record was 299, held by Tim Salmon, and he broke that and is, putting that in his rear view mirror. Tim who?
I don't know. I want to ask you something though. So I know that the Angels win, and I think maybe this goes into the next series. No Mickey in the lineup for this game. And just think about that as we go to the next series. No Mickey. What happened to Mickey? Where's Mickey?
I guess Mickey wasn't so fine. He wasn't blowing my mind.
And not
No
Bill.
Mickey. No Mickey. Before I move on from this, I was just looking to see what could be for Mike Trout moving up the list. If all he did was hit 18 more home runs, and we know he's hit 30, 40, even without injury, he might have hit 50 there a couple of years back. I think realistically, he's at 362. If he hit 18 more, he could probably get up there around 70. There's a lot of guys all in at 382, taking up number 69, including an active player. The next active player on the list, Giancarlo Stanton. Now, I'm assuming that Giancarlo will probably have moved up by then. I don't know because
he's always on the
name. He's always on the IL.
Always on the IL.
But that would put him in. He would jump over, Hall of Famers like Gil Hodges, Ralph Kiner, Carlton Fisk, Tony Perez, Orlando Cepeda, and get in there with Jim Rice, Frank Howard, even Ryan Howard, played for the Phillies all those years, among other teams.
Yeah.
And if he was able to, hit another 20, 25, he could actually get up there and be closer to like Johnny Bench, who was 389, and pass up a couple of guys that just recently went in the Hall, like Larry Walker and Harold Baines. So, he's moving up. If he can, get to about 398, which I don't see, that's 30 more home runs. He'd tie with, should be a Hall of Famer, Dale Murphy at number 60. So, I mean, if he could stay healthy, who knows? And when he goes on a tear, he's shown. And as much as I've been disappointed with Mike Trout overall this year, I mean, he's still leading the team in a lot of the offensive categories, but there's something about his home run swing. It's so short and compact. He's not long. He's not a long swinger.
No.
But it seems like he pulls his hands and his arms back in, and it's just really a compact swing. And all that power right in there and drives that ball out. And I really enjoy watching that. I still would never buy a Mike Trout jersey, but because for me, number 27 for the Angels is Hall of Famer Vladimir Guerrero. Not Mike Trout, even though Mike could very well find himself there too. And I think someday they'll have to retire 27 for both of them.
Yeah, I think so.
So the final game of their homestand, they had a nice homestand. So far, so good. They beat the Twins. Won that series. Of course, we just talked about them sweeping the Red Sox, and now they got the Marlins coming in. So the Marlins, you got to figure the Marlins they're not the worst in the East. That one goes to Washington. Philadelphia right in front of them. Wait a minute, as I keep going, then it's the Mets. It's Miami. Miami is second place in the NL East. And watching them play, they got a lot of guys, and they've got pitching. And the first guy out is considered Sandy Alcantara Jr. Jesus Luzardo. One of the top pitchers that I think a lot of teams were hoping maybe the Marlins would trade off. He is on the hill for the Marlins versus Reed Detmers. Gives up 7 hits in a run in a 6-2 L for the Halos. Reed Detmers gives up 3 runs on 10 hits. Sam Bachman. We've talked a little bit about him when we talked about draft picks. Has spent the last couple of years having a lot of issues, injury issues, but he makes his major league debut. And this is something that I noticed with the Angels. The one thing I gotta kind of give Perry on this, he has not been afraid to bring up these guys who it's their first, he's brought up guys that are the first players of their draft class to be brought up to make the majors. Zach Neto. Zetto was the first one. We're going to talk about Ben Joyce, who the kid from Tennessee threw 105.5 in a game. And we'll talk about him in a little bit. But I got this first game 6-2. It was pretty standard. They just couldn't really get anything going, and so they just dropped it. Jorge Soler hits a home run. It was like his 4th game straight with a home run. And Brian De La Cruz helped powered the Marlins. Game 2.
Shohei's on the mound.
It was a black hole. Yeah, when Shohei was on the mound, everything was fine, apparently. 6-inning pitch, 6 hits, 2 runs, 10 strikeouts, just 3 walks. But, yeah, it was really we can blame Silseth and Berea, who each pitched in that game and gave up a lot of runs.
Which is, I don't say funny, but those were the 2 guys who helped in the first game against the Red Sox. Jaime Berea started that game, and then Chase Silseth got the win in that game, and then they turn around and do this.
Yeah. They go to Sinnings. That was one thing. Chris Stavinsky, Carlos Estevez. And I remember, I think I mentioned earlier in the year, Carlos Estevez said if he'd been from the U.S., he probably would have played football. And I knew how big he's 6'6" and weighs like 280 pounds. Now, a lot of pitchers that are that tall are much lighter. But when you look at him and the way he was coming off the mound, you could definitely see him on a football field.
Oh, yeah.
And but those 2 guys, they pitched great. Zeros from both of them. It just, they just couldn't get anything going to stop the Marlins.
Well, and you had Jorge Soler, who homered in his 5th consecutive game.
Right. So you got that. Yet another home run for him. Obviously, with the 5 runs, Gio Urshela, who's doing a great job at third base, made some great plays there. 3 for 5 with a home run, a double, 3 RBIs. Matt Thaiss, couple of RBIs. Trout went 2 for 4. Things fell apart for the Angels late. They were in the game.
Yeah.
But then, and don't ask me what was going on in his head, but Mickey Moniak, fly ball to him. He gets over, tries to make a basket catch, I guess. I don't know what happened, because it wasn't like he was like just trying to make the catch any way he could. He should have been able to make that catch early, but he ends up trying to catch it down at his belly button. It hits off of him and the glove and goes past. Well, Mike Trout's coming over to back him up, but he thinks he's got it. So Mike Trout basically runs past him. The ball goes past Mike Trout. Moniak's got to run over to grab the ball, and then doesn't grab it and automatically know where he's going to throw it. He turns around and like he's going to walk and just toss it in, because he doesn't think, well, there's runs scoring. The Marlins are taking control of this game. And then, so we got this. This is one error. They didn't charge an error on this next play. Initially they did, and then they changed everything. Bases are loaded. They actually set it up for that. Hit back to the pitcher. Pitcher throws to Matt Thaiss, who was catching, who it was a force out at home. He goes to first for a double play. The Marlins decide to challenge that. They say Matt Theiss's foot was not on the plate. The umpire, he kind of mocked the Marlins, because he turned his mic on to say the Marlins are challenging the out at the plate. And he said, without turning off the mic, because they have their heads up their asses. And it went out everywhere. Well, Mr. Umpire, the call was overturned because he was probably about 3 to 4 inches away from the plate, and the run scores. Matt Thaiss with an error there because he never touched home plate.
And we know whose head was where. It wasn't the Marlins.
Exactly. It wasn't theirs. That was a good deal on theirs. That ends up with them, and they end up losing 8-5. At that point, it was 8-4. It was in innings. Gio Urshela drives in the 5th run of that, but at that point, it was nothing. He got the ghost runner in with the RBI single there, and that would be it. It was just, I don't know, stupid is really how all that played. And here's the thing. There are times when the starters are bad, but the offense has been good, or the bullpen kind of holds everything off after the starters are screwed things up. There's a time when the starter's been good, and then the bullpen falls apart. The defense plays poorly. Really, the only consistency, and not necessarily from any one player consistently, but the offense in general has been the more consistent of anything. They've scored some runs. It is the pitching staff and the defense that gives up the runs. And this was a prime example. Not heads up play. No situational awareness. Matt Thaiss should have known where the plate was. And he should have made sure he touched that before he was so focused on the double play that he never thought about. Touch home plate, no runs coming in, then worry about throwing. And if you can't, who cares? You got the lead runner. And he didn't do that. That's fundamental baseball, and they're not playing that. So you go from this incredible series against a team, and I get it. If it had been, if they sweep the Oakland A's, there's not any kind of celebration to that. Because the Oakland A's had won 10 games as of Sunday. Their winning percentage was 182. I think other than Kansas City, who was at 300, everybody else was at least 4 something. And then you come here, and so it makes the whole week a wash, 3-3. So you're still at 500, and they're still slightly over. Like I said, they'd be first place in AL Central.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You sweep the Red Sox, which I think even with the Red Sox where they are, They play in the East, the AL East, but that still has to make you feel good because it's the Red Sox.
Right.
And then you have the so you're like, okay, we swept this team. We got the Marlins coming in. We should, you should either sweep or, take the series. And
Right.
they don't do either.
And they look bad doing it.
Yeah, it's like totally different, team. I don't know.
Well, if the Angels were in the AL East, they would be in last place tied with Toronto. They have every team in the AL East has a winning record. And playing at least 2 games over 500. That's Toronto. And once again, as of Sunday's last Sunday's game, what is that date? The 28th. They're hanging around there, but they're so close to a collapse. And it's just going to take one bad losing streak and they may not recover. They've shown that they can play with just about every team. There's not been any real huge, blowouts for the Angels. They've been able to stay in a lot of games. What did I tell you? They had, at one point, I think I told you they had like 15, comeback wins, which was one of the tops in Major League Baseball. So there's something cooking there. They just can't put it all together. Now, is that the players or is that the leadership? There's probably a little bit on the players, not getting through, but I think a lot of it's got to be the coaching staff. Imagine if they had a better coaching staff and a non-meddling, a non-interfering, to go with the Joe Madden GM, where they might be.
I mean, you got to think, where could they be? Could they be in first? Could they be in second? I don't know.
Well, I think right now with the way that the Rangers are playing, they'd probably be in second.
Yeah.
But they'd be in, they're not in a wild card spot at this point. Those are the things that, you need to be in a wild card. You need to be at least there and at least trying to get there to get into whatever you got to do to get into. You don't have to win the division to get into the playoffs and then build from there, because the one thing nobody said, we want the Angels to win the West so they can be, everybody's just saying we want the Angels to be in the playoffs because we want to see Mike Trout in the playoffs. We want to see Shohei Ohtani in the playoffs. We want to see what you guys can do there, but especially those two. And of course, with the fact that I don't even know if I'm Shohei Ohtani, I don't even know if I haven't already made up my decision to not go. One thing that was in play there on Sunday, which we haven't talked about the Sunday game because we were just too tied up and wrapped up in that disaster in the middle. Actually, the last game of the series, even though it's an L for them at 2-0, was a more solid game overall for the Angels, and they didn't feel out of it like they did in the past games. Ben Joyce called up, first pitcher from his class last year, first player from the 2023 draft after Zetto to be called up. And that's total. That's baseball wide.
Right.
Didn't get into the game, but he was there. And I'm sure we'll see him pitching soon, because coming up for the Angels. But he didn't get into this game. The Angels were 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, they stranded 11.
Yep. Six innings pitched, 8 hits, 2 runs given up by Patrick Sandoval. 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. He gave up a home run. Gio Urshela had a triple out of the 5 Angels hits, so not a lot of offense, really. Renfroe had a double. Neto had a double. And interestingly enough, and this is a surprising stat. Did you have any surprising stats for the Angels? Because you always seem to come up with some crazy cool stat.
Yeah, no, not this time.
This was the first shutout in 95 games for the Angels. They had not been shut out since the last season.
Wow. Which, with the way they've been playing, and that's the thing, they're kind of on a roller coaster ride. They are up and then they're down. You would think that they would have had a shutout, or had been shut out.
Yeah, it's crazy that they didn't get that. And game 2 of this was more like a regular game, but yet it felt the same as these games do. It was 3.5 hours long.
Oh, yeah.
With the innings, there was a lot of scoring. There was a lot of nonsensicalness going on in that game. Another thing I noticed in games 1 and 2, you saw Dylan Floro in both of them looking pretty good for the Marlins. And then JT Chargois, who was in a couple of the games too, and he didn't look too bad either.
Yeah, 2 former Dodgers.
Exactly. Anyway, the Angels are on their way to the south side, the baddest part of town, to take on the forever on the bases Tim Anderson. And our old pal Joe Kelly is there. So might get to see him pitch while they're up there. And then they're going to head for their first trip into Houston to play the Asterix, and their first look at Tiny. He is back on the field for the Asterix. I got to stop talking about it. I thought about it the other day. I'm like, I really talk about, even though I call him Tiny, I mention him a lot.
You do. You have mentioned him quite a bit. I want to go back to my question, where's Mickey? Because he was 2 for 4 with a home run in the first game versus the Red Sox. In the second game, he was 1 for 3 with a home run. And then he's out of the lineup for game 3. And then the first game, he's out of the lineup versus the Marlins. And then he comes back for the second and third game, but he goes 0 for 5 and 0 for 3. And I'm wondering, why would Phil Nevin not put him in the lineup when he was hitting the way he's been hitting? He's on the bench. He cools off. He forgets how to play, forgets how to hit, and can't field. So it's like a hypnotist they had, and they're like, you don't know how to play baseball. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's weird why you would put, I think it was Taylor Ward.
To get Taylor Ward in there.
Yeah.
But even Taylor Ward's not doing anything much either.
That's what I mean. It's like, why wouldn't you go with the guy who's hitting, who's doing, making, I'm not saying that they're going to win, not that they're going to win these games, but they would maybe have a little bit better, percentage. Their percentage would go up based on what he had done. So that's why I say, where's Mickey? Where is he?
No, that would have been, but when he did come back, he was a disaster.
Right.
So, yep, I don't know. It's interesting too. OPS plus, all of the regular players are all up over 100 with the OPS plus. I mean, in some of them like 120, 130. We're talking Mike Trout, Ohtani, even Anthony Rendon is up there. Taylor Ward, Luis Rengifo. Last year, both of them breakouts. This year, Ward,
breakdowns.
OPS, exactly. OPS plus of 68. Rengifo at 60. I didn't bother to go look and see because I didn't want to say, oh, look, last year they're half of what they used to be. I mean, they weren't at 160, but still They broke out last season and broke down this season. Anyway, and the Angels I noticed too, because the stuff with Tampa Bay and their steals, stolen bases, made me look. 25 stolen bases for the Angels on the season, so not many. Caught stealing 8 times. So 33 total stolen bases or attempts, only to get caught 8 times. So, percentage wise, it's a small number, but 25 stolen bases. But how many times of that is like really no, it wasn't complete defensive indifference, which doesn't qualify for a stolen base, but
Right.
All right. Anybody qualify as a player of the week for you, or could you just not bring yourself to do that?
I'm taking a bye this week. I wanted to go with Mickey again, but then he went 0 for 5 and 0 for 3, didn't play. And then as I was looking through, I just couldn't find anyone that was consistent or that I, really felt like was a player of the week.
All right. Well, I have one. He was 8 for 17 on the week, 2 doubles, a triple, a home run, 4 RBIs, a couple of walks, an on-base percentage of .500. So he's on base 50% of the time with a .471 batting average. He is my favorite Angel these days, Gio Urshela. Bullpen cart is up and ready. New tires. I don't know if you noticed that. Some new tires. We got some off-road tread just in case as we take a ride around baseball. And as always, we like to start off with Players of the Week. Now, we know that today is day 1 of June, but we're going to hold off doing Players of the Month and all that stuff until next week. Right?
Yes, we're going to go with Players of the Week. So for the National League, we head to Cincinnati, and Matt McClain of the Reds is the NL Player of the Week. He was 15 for 31 with 5 extra base hits, 7 RBIs, and a 1.317 OPS. And the AL Player of the Week, out of Seattle, Julio Rodriguez. He was 14 for 30 with 6 extra base hits, 7 RBIs, and a 1.284 OPS.
Wow. That's the first time we've heard his name really this year. He was having issues and finally coming back around. That team, the Mariners, a lot of what they're doing really hinges on how he plays, I think. If he's down, it seems like everybody else is kind of down there with him.
Yep. And speaking of Seattle, the All-Star Game will be in Seattle on July 12th at T-Mobile Park. And you can vote starting now, actually yesterday, for your favorite All-Stars. So it's phase 1 of the All-Star voting. So you can choose your starters until noon Eastern time on Thursday, June 22nd. You can vote as many as 5 times per day. So, 24-hour period. And the top 2 vote getters at each position and the top 6 outfielders in each league will be revealed on June 22nd on MLB Network. And then the leading vote getter in each league, they get an automatic spot in their team starting lineup. And then the other top vote getters advance to phase 2 of voting. So if an outfielder is a league's lead vote getter, only the next 4 outfield finalists move on to phase 2 to determine who gets those remaining 2 spots. Phase 2 begins on June 26th until June 29th, shorter window, and you can only vote once per 24-hour period, and then everything will be revealed on June 29th. And then the pitchers and reserves for both squads, that will be determined via a player ballot. And of course, there are selections made by the commissioner's office. And then the full roster will be unveiled on July 2nd.
Any hopes on any particular players making it in, or
Will Smith? He has never been an all-star, which is crazy to think. So I am voting all in on Will.
All right, that's reasonable. I'd like to see a guy that we've seen play before. If he keeps up with what he's been doing for Detroit, I'd like to see Zach McKinstry.
And I actually voted, and I did vote for Zach McKinstry.
He's one of those that for sure I'd like to see. I was just looking through the list right now, and to kind of go off of this, but there's some talk that there's a minor leaguer coming up in from Cincinnati system that could unseat Jonathan India, former Rookie of the Year.
Right.
Do you know any teams that could use a second baseman that's good like that?
The Angels?
The Angels could use him. Depending on if I have to choose between him and Vargas.
Well.
Am I going with J.I. or am I keeping Miggy? I don't know. See, this is one of those things. And the Dodgers are going to have to start. We talked trade deadline. There's a lot of teams that are going to be looking for certain players.
That's true.
Pitching was one thing. And I wanted to ask you this either here or in the Dodger segment, but I just heard that depending on where, and of course it's a different thing when you get to the central divisions, you could be at 500 or slightly under 500 and still have a shot at making the playoffs. So this could be a little premature, but if the Guardians seem to fall off, I've heard talk Shane Bieber could end up on the block. And Shane Bieber's got an option next year, so it's not as if he's a rental so that you can't get a lot for him. You could probably get a lot for him, and then, the team would do that. So as, both the Dodgers and the Angels could use him. Do you give up what seems to be a slowly depleted farm system if you're Andrew Friedman for Shane Bieber? Or, how much would you give? And nobody's going to take Gavin Stone now necessarily unless he turns it around. Or they might, but probably not without giving up something else big. Would you give up Bobby Miller?
Oh, no. No. I would not. I would not give up Bobby Miller. Not for Shane Bieber. I mean, I know Shane Bieber, he's a good pitcher, but, where is he right now?
Would you give up Gavin Stone, Miguel Vargas, especially if you thought you could get Jonathan India for and maybe another piece for Shane Bieber?
That's a good question. Shane Bieber has a 3.72 ERA, so it's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. It's way better than Noah. Way better.
My ERA is better than Noah.
I know. Maybe I think I would entertain. I could entertain that. I like Miguel Vargas, but yeah, you get somebody really solid at second. That could be something to look at.
Okay.
Yeah. I have to think about that more as we as pieces, as you start looking at different pieces, definitely pitching. I mean, I think pitching just across the board for every team. I mean, even Atlanta has, Spencer Strider, obviously is still, but Max Fried is on, the IL. And they've brought up some of their rookies, from the minors for pitching because their rotations are depleted too. So, I mean, that's just one team. Obviously the Angels, they always need pitching, but what will happen there? But yeah, I've heard that same rumor about Shane Bieber.
Definitely something to look at. And I wonder if now, we didn't bring him up during the Dodgers segment, but Miguel Rojas has been pretty hot lately, pretty solid with the bat. We already knew he could play shortstop. He's been pretty solid there defensively, but his hitting was lacking till recently.
He's really got comfortable. Maybe he's more comfortable. We see Mookie at second sometimes. Occasionally, we'll see him at short. But then that allows, Jason Hayward in there to play at right. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of different maneuvering going on with the Dodgers, but I wonder too, would it be better if you had a solid, second baseman or solid, you just have that outfield. This is our outfield. This is who we go with.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that and the reason I brought up Miguel Rojas, if he can keep up with that, I feel like the Dodgers may not have to look at that side of things and focus more on definitely a solid pitcher, and maybe a secondary, a 2 and a 3 type starter, maybe even a 1 and a 3.
Anything has to be better than Syndergaard.
I don't feel like because Julio's out. Julio was pretty much the number 1. But I don't feel like he's pitched like the number 1.
No, he hasn't. Not at all. He's had those moments, but then he gives up. He was giving up at least 2 home runs every start.
I feel like if Tyler Anderson for the Angels was pitching better, I wonder if Shohei would have had less of that, because I think he tries to put too much on himself. I got to carry the team through this one start. And if he had another starter that was putting up similar numbers every start, maybe he wouldn't feel so stressed there. I don't know. That's just the way it feels. And I think that's on a lot of teams. If you know that you're not the only one who's going out there having quality starts every day or every time you pitch. Yeah, I think the trade deadline this year will be incredibly exciting or a bust. Problem when you look around, you were far enough in that nobody's starting to do a super fade, all of a sudden. Maybe as we get further into June, we'll see that. But really, Kansas City and Oakland are the only two that have pretty much already written off the season. They're practically mathematically eliminated. The A's are 25 games out or something like that almost by now. And I didn't look to see how far the Royals are, but they're pretty close to that too.
Tomorrow, the Major League Baseball will commemorate the 3rd annual Lou Gehrig Day. Baseball will collectively raise awareness and research funds for ALS, which is otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease. In addition to things happening, at the ballpark, MLB is going to honor MLB researcher and analyst Sarah Langs in every broadcast booth during the games on Lou Gehrig's Day. And she is going to be throwing out the ceremonial first pitch at Citi Field tomorrow. She was diagnosed with ALS last year. And she's got a really good Twitter feed with lots of stats.
Yeah, she does. She does have that. She's even stolen from us
She
a
has.
couple seasons ago.
A couple of seasons ago.
She didn't admit to it, but we were first, and she didn't give us any due. But we're giving her a break on that.
Yeah. Lou Gehrig Day is always held on June 2nd because it marks the day that he became the starting first baseman for the New York Yankees and beginning his incredible streak of consecutive games played. He was the Iron Horse, and it is also solemnly remembered as the day that he passed from complications of ALS. And so remembering Lou Gehrig, and then of course MLB doing good by raising money for a disease that there's no cure, but the more money raised to help people who have it and also for research is huge.
Absolutely. And I've always kind of felt that, and maybe it's just Lou Gehrig's what I feel like his character was. I always kind of felt like he was better than Babe Ruth.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I think we've talked about this before. And I thought about it the other day. I thought about Grandpa the other day. And I meant to bring this up, but every time I see Wander Franco now, I think back. He had a play where makes a routine play on a ground ball, but instead of just coming up with the ball and throwing it, he flipped the ball up, grabbed it, and threw it. And all I could think of Grandpa, and then Mom would have probably said the same thing, using the same terms about them being a hot dog.
Yeah.
And I didn't care that he did that, but it just made me think, just make the play. This isn't like League of Their Own where they're trying to keep it open and you need people making all kinds of plays like that. You need Dottie Hinson catching the ball behind her back or in the splits. You don't need that. But it was just like, and he explained it. He goes, I do that. And I wasn't even thinking. I do that in practice sometimes or when we're fooling around. And I just did it. And, it worked out for him. But it's like that. And it really made me think, I don't care so much about any of the bat flips anymore. I don't think I ever cared about the bat flips. Sometimes it's like, okay, do you need to be that ostentatious? But there are times on some of them where I could just hear Grandpa's voice in my head as to why he doesn't like it. There's no reason to be a showboat, a hot dog, things like that. And and I think that when you get to the point that, and luckily the Angels aren't doing this stuff because they're not even playing fundamental baseball half the time. But it's like in Little League, they always tell you catch the ball with two hands because we all want to catch that fly ball with one hand, just a glove. And they tell you to do it. Well, you see all the pros doing it, so you want to do it too. It's up to the coaches to teach the players not to do those things. But it was just that Wander, doing that. I'm not a fan of his. If I'm going to be a fan of anybody and their stuff, I'd be a fan of the Razor more than Wander or Rosarena. But anyway, I don't know why that popped in it's character. Lou Gehrig having a better character. I have realized there's a lot of teams that when I look at at their jerseys or I look at the players, the last jersey I got with somebody's name on it, other than Nolan Ryan, was Justin Turner. And that one I felt worth it, but there's nobody on the team that I want to get. As much as I like some of these players, I don't want a Mookie jersey. I don't want a Will Smith jersey. I don't want a Clayton Kershaw jersey. But when I was at that game a couple weeks ago now, I realized the more I watched, and even now, I would get a Freddie Freeman jersey. And I think it's because of the way he goes about playing the game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do have a Clayton Kershaw jersey, just for full disclosure. But I also like the way Clayton carries himself too. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
but Freddie Freeman, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna wear somebody else's name on your back, you want to make sure it's somebody that you respect, and I think others respect. And he definitely is someone that he's very much business, but but I really like how it doesn't matter, he's at first base and he talks to everybody. If they get hit by a pitch, like, hey, are you okay? He's genuine. And I like that about him.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So what else is going on? What else can we do you have to share here and around baseball on the
so
Sibling
this is
Rivalry
pretty
Baseball
cool.
podcast?
Thinking about Tampa Bay, Luke Raley, who was former Dodger, he got a pretty cool keepsake. He found himself on the mound. He was not excited about being on the mound. He started the game at first base. The Rays were playing the Blue Jays, and they were down 10-1 in the top of the 8th inning. So, hey, Luke, come pitch. They asked him if he was excited. He said no, he was scared. He doesn't like to be on the mound. He got rocked in high school. Those were his words. And he's like, if that happened to me in high school, what am I going to do against the Blue Jays? And so he said he just tried to lob it over the plate, save the bullpen from having to come out. And he found himself striking out Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So Vladdy was a good sport about it, and sent over the ball that he got struck out with, and signed it and inscribed it, "You got me." And
nice play that way. And Luke Raley's not going to the Hall of Fame, but Vladdy Jr. might be.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I didn't mention, he got struck out. Raley struck him out on a 50-mile-per-hour curveball. So, he's not, I didn't mention that the next time he came up, he hit a grand slam off Luke Raley. So, because it doesn't add to the story, it detracts. So.
Gotcha.
But it's pretty cool. And Luke Raley has, like you said, he has potential Hall of Famer, a ball, and he can say, I struck him out on a 50-mile-per-hour curveball.
That's right. Well, it's good that he can go out there and try to overthrow. He just like, you know what, let's just get through the game. Let's save this, because no doubt he would have tried to rear back and throw some kind of a fastball and ended up on the wheel.
Oh, it gets better every week. Oh, Cedric Mullins is on the 10-day IL with a right groin strain. Elvis Andres is on the 10-day IL with an oblique strain.
Ooh, oblique. 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 I'm trying to work out spelling it, like in Lola.
Right.
It's like OHBLBIL. Wait. Yeah.
OBLIQUE.
Well, I got the part, Lola is like
right.
oblique, OBLIQE oblique. Or I even thought about going OHBLEAK oblique, because isn't that how it sounds?
Yeah, it does sound.
So,
it does sound like that.
I don't know.
Mike Clevenger.
Is that poetic license?
Yeah, I think it could be.
Oh, you're the English major.
Yeah,
Can it be?
It is. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Mike Clevenger's on the 15-day IL with wrist inflammation. Will Myers of the Reds is on the 10-day IL. And the reason I mention this one, because this is a first for the Wheel, he has kidney stones.
Ow.
Yeah, not fun at all. But this is a first, so I had to mention it.
Wow.
First guy spinning with kidney stones.
Was it this season or was it last season we had appendicitis?
That's this season we had appendicitis.
And that's right. That was what's his name? From the White Sox, right? Yeah. And then was that Luis Robert?
Yes.
Or was that?
I think it was Luis Robert. Yeah.
And then now kidney stones. Wow, it has been a crazy year on the Wheel. The Wheel got bigger. It's got its own Tommy John wing and surgery center now.
It does.
And, which is interesting because it's spinning, so it adds a degree of difficulty for the surgeons to do the Tommy John surgery on them as well. So
exactly. Matt Moore of the Angels is on the 15-day IL with an oblique strain.
Oblique. I was thinking too, instead of not just the Lola, was to do oblique like in an opera type.
That could work.
Oblique.
Maybe you could make it like that, that ad about the people who want their money.
Oh, yeah. I've got a strained oblique and I need help now. Call 1-800-876 oblique.
Yeah, something like that. All right. Jess Chisholm is on the 10-day IL with turf toe. I think that's a first for this season. Jesse Winker with the neck strain. Willie Adames is on the 7-day concussion IL. Now, he was hit on the head by a foul ball while in the dugout. So
is he going to sue the player and the team?
Well, it was his teammate that hit the foul ball. So I don't know how well that would go.
He's going to sue his own teammate and his own team.
Mm-hmm. Brewers starting pitcher Eric Lauer is on the 15-day IL with a right shoulder impingement. And Harrison Bader of the Yankees is on the 10-day IL with a groin strain, and he has been right up there, on a tear and has been slowed down. And I just want to mention that there are currently 161 pitchers on the IL list.
Wow. Furthering your hypothesis.
Yes.
Look at me.
Hypothesis.
Hypothesis. About, following up with the articles and all that stuff that there may be something to the pitch clock and pitcher injuries.
I think so. That's my research project this summer.
All right. Yep. You've got the time. They've got the numbers. It's almost like a beer commercial. You got the time. We got the beer. If you got the time, we got the numbers. So get to work on your research project there, Jana. No, we got to wait till the end of June for another fashion corner with the City Connects when Pittsburgh comes out. I think they should just put on pirate uniforms. Not the Pirates. I think get them like what's in the Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland, Disney World.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like actual, the 3/4 pants that are kind of shredded at the end and the striped shirts. And
one of them has to have a peg leg.
Right. They get that peg leg and
eye patch.
An eye patch, definitely eye patch. Things like that. I think that should be. I don't know that Pittsburgh is a pirate city per se, Maybe, back in the day along the rivers,
Yeah. On
there
the
the
Allegheny.
Allegheny River, there were pirates upon the Allegheny.
I'm going to tell you a joke. This one is one that Planet Head told me. How much do pirates' earrings cost?
Oh, I don't know.
A buccaneer.
That's
That's a dad joke.
Yeah. I think.
So the Pirates will be next. There was possibly a leak of maybe what somebody thinks it's going to look like, and if it is, it's not pretty.
Another disaster.
Another
I think
disaster.
we need to go and put all of them on. I went through some of these pictures of all the. Last night I was sitting here looking at some stuff, and I went through all the pictures of all those that have been released, and I noticed that almost all of the pictures they have are uniforms on players that are no longer with those teams. And whoever picked the pictures, the Dodgers had Cody Bellinger, the Diamondbacks, David Peralta.
Perfect.
It was like, wait, that guy's not there. He's wearing another one. And this one I saw, I don't know if it was like Sports Illustrated or whatever. They think that the best one out of all of them is the Rockies.
Yeah, I think that's a kind of a general consensus that I've seen across the board when people are ranking them.
Because they just didn't do too much.
Yeah, they didn't do too much, and it just kind of it brings in their theme. But again, it could be just another special jersey. Doesn't have to be any. And it's at City Connect. It's not really Connect. They're connecting with the whole state.
Right. Well, they are Colorado Rockies, not Denver Rockies.
That is true. So it's really the State Connect jerseys for them.
State Connect jersey. Yep. And then number 2, as I recall, was Chicago, the White Sox.
Yeah, those are.
Although I will say,
pretty sharp.
I did like just in general the Wrigleyville. The Cubs wasn't too bad. I kind of like that color combination and going from there. All right. So we got that to look forward to in about a month. We've got, next week we'll be talking about, college baseball. So there's a ton of stuff that's about to start happening. We're going to have to start also watching the trade rumors.
Yeah, because they're out there. They're flying.
And that'll wrap up this week's edition of the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. We thank you for riding along with us as we checked in with the College World Series pairings, or the Baseball Championship pairings for the NCAA, what's happening with the Dodgers, the Angels, and of course around baseball. We'll do this all again next week. We hope that you have time to come see us. Remember to stop by our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. Also, don't forget to check out our Twitter, Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And if you want to find out more about some of the City Connects that we like, check out episode 4 of this season, where we really get in depth with the Texas Rangers. That was a crazy one, and we really had a lot to say about that. So, and once you've listened to this one, go back and check that one out. It was a good episode, if I do say so myself. Pat myself on the back. And maybe I'll even pat you on the back, too. I got to listen back to it and see if you were okay. I don't know. I can't remember.
It's going on our Emmy tape.
Yes, our podcast Emmy tape highlights.
For your consideration.
Yes. We hope that you consider joining in with us next week right here on the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. And either way, don't forget to swing away.